Is it recording now? I just pressed it, but I don't know. Ah, it's recording. Okay. Namaste. Shriman Venkatanatharya Kavita Arkika Keshari Vedanta Acharya Varyo Me Sannidattam Sadakridi Ramanuja Daya Patram Jnana Vairagya Bhushanam Srimad Venkatanatharyam Vande Vedanta Desikam Lakshmi Nada Samarambam Nada Yamuna Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryandam Vande Guru Parambaram Yo Nityamachadapadam Bhujayakmarukma Vyamo Hadastaritarani Trinayamene Asmad Gurur Bhagadosa Dayeka Sintho Ramanujassa Charanau Sharanam Prapatte Mata Pita Yuvadayas Tanaya Vibhudi Sarvam Yateva Nemena Matanvayanam Atyasana Kulabader Bagadabhiramam Srimat Tadankregalam Pranamami Murtna Budam Sarascha Magadakvaya Pattanada Sri Bhaktisar Kulasekara Yogi Vahan Bhaktan Krirenu Paragal Idindra Misran Srimat Paranga Samanim Pranadosmi Nityam. Good evening. Namaste. Bhagavad Gita, we know, is Bhagavan Sri Krishna's words and instructions, advices to Arjuna. To set the context for our engagement today and next Friday, I'll probably spend some time about Bhagavad Gita, the context of how Mahabharata happened, and then talk about what we are going to talk. So that will be my structure. As we all know, Mahabharata is one of the two greatest itihasas or epics from Indian origin, Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana speaks more about Rama and Mahabharata speaks a lot about Krishna. Both are incarnations or avatars of Mahavishnu. So in Mahabharata, there is actually a war between two cousins. So the war is called the Kurukshetra war. So there is a set of people, 5 brothers called Pandavas, and there are another set of 100 brothers called Kauravas. So the fight is between the Pandavas and Kauravas, where the Pandavas were denied justice by the Kauravas, so the Pandavas fight against the Kauravas, and Sri Krishna helps the Pandavas by being the charioteer of Arjuna, one of the 5 brothers in Pandavas. So this is the context. So the war is going to start. It is an 18-day war, and Bhagavad Gita was imparted on day 1. So when the war started, Arjuna asked Krishna to ride the chariot in front of in the center of, because both the soldiers of both sides are there standing. There's a big gap. One side is Pandavas, one side is Kauravas. They're facing each other. And now Arjuna says, Krishna, lead the chariot in front, and he sees everybody. And as I said, this is a fight between the cousins. That means the elders there are uncles, grandfathers, great-grandfathers, great-uncle, grand-uncle. It's all like that. Then my own brothers. So suddenly Arjuna feels a bit distraught. Arjuna, by the way, a quick context for people who may not know, is valor personified. His valor is par excellence. There is nobody who can match his valor. So he is of that stature. He's not a person who is timid or like thing. He's a person full of valor. He's also ambidextrous. He's one who can raise bow and arrow in both hands with equal strength. So that was a skill against other skills. So he suddenly sees all relatives and generally coming up with a lot of people, and he says war means there will be death. And he suddenly loses all his emotions and says, after all, for piece of land and kingdom, why should we fight? And he decides to drop his bow, which is as good as writing off the war and say, I'm not going to fight. So Krishna suddenly says, boss, you can't do all these things after coming here. You are a Kshatriya. To give a context to our friends who don't understand, typically in Indian context, based on the work classification, there are 4 varnas as we call. We call the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Brahmanas are who do godly activities, priest and priestly activities. Kshatriyas are those who govern, who protect the land. Vaisyas are the commerce people who build the economy, who contribute and grow the economy. The Shudras are one who contribute by physical labor. So that's how people were grouped. So a Kshatriya's duty is to protect, govern and protect. So he says, boss, as a Kshatriya, you can't drop your bow and arrow, you got to fight. Then he starts lamenting. So Arjuna's lament is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavan, as we say, is Krishna. His words, Gita is song. So the song of God is called Bhagavad Gita. So in this, after hearing all his lament quietly, so Krishna starts advising him based on that. But that advice is not just for Arjuna, it is for all of us. Because now if you take one step back, based on the Hindu understanding of way of life, the body is different from soul or Atma. So Atma is different, body is different. Atma is eternal, it doesn't have death. Body perishes. So the Atma takes the cycle of birth, death and rebirth, and it gets another body based on the karma that accumulate in this birth. So this is endless cycle. It keeps going on and on. So Bhagavan Krishna advises him saying, you think you are killing somebody, but remember you are only killing the body, not the Atma, because Atma is not perishable. So he goes on to give these advices and advices. So Bhagavad Gita, whole thing happens 700 slokas built around 18 chapters. So that is the size and magnitude of that. Now the question will arise, the battlefield is there, both of them are ready to fight, both the troops, and do you think it is practical for somebody to give a 700 sloka lecture at that time? We have to remember Mahabharata days, it was practiced what is called as the Dharma Yuddha. Unless the war is officially started with conch being blown by both sides, it is not considered started, nobody will even touch it. And because of that reason, and number two, we are talking about Sanskritam, the language in which Bhagavad Gita was said. We may find it tough today. Those days that was the spoken language. So it is easy for Bhagavan Krishna to use 700 slokas, probably an hour's time maximum. So that is all practical in those days. So this whole Bhagavad Gita is so intense and profound in meanings. There are very many acharyas who have done works on to explain the Bhagavad Gita to us. So this happened in Dwaparayuga, right? So we are now probably 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 years later. So how do we understand that meaning of it? So many acharyas in contemporary last 1,000 years, last 2,000 years, people have, and even currently there are a lot of people who give meanings of, inner meanings of Bhagavad Gita. So there are very many acharyas, noted acharyas, we worshipable panditas who have given their interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. That can be grouped based on the philosophy in which people follow. The broad philosophy people follow are Dvaita, Advaita, Visishtadvaita. So each has a guru. Under their guru, there are many gurus who came as per lineage. They have interpreted in their own way of understanding. The understanding that I am going to share briefly is based on Visishtadvaita, which is established by Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya had acharyas before, but the whole Visishtadvaita is given to Ramanujacharya's lineage. But strangely, there was an acharya called Alavanda, who is a predecessor to Ramanujacharya, who first wrote the Geetartha Sangraha. Sangraha in Sanskrit means simplified. 700 slokas, he brought it down to 32 slokas in Sanskrit. So he was the first acharya to simplify Gita for a short understanding. The whole idea is to, like for example, if you want to entice somebody to do something very big, you show them a small sweetener so that you get that taste. Oh, this is so lovely. This itself is so tasty. Let me taste the full thing, is what people will think. So Swami Alavandar in his benevolence, he said, okay, I will shrink it for you. So you enjoy this taste. Then go to the Mula to understand the thing. But that 32 itself is very profound. So he first started giving Geetartha Sangraha in Sanskrit. His was in Sanskrit, obviously. So that he did. Then Bhagavad Ramanuja came after Alavandar. He wrote a elaborate meaning for Alavandar's Geetartha Sangraha. He named it Gita Bhashyam. So it was very elaborate. So he wrote that. Then after Ramanujacharya, Swami Vedanta Desika came in. Vedanta Desika decided to elaborate Bhagavad Ramanuja's Gita Bhashyam. So he gave Geetartha Sangraha Raksha. He gave in Sanskrit, which was a kind of a protector for all the meaning. Protecting here is protecting the right meanings, what Alavandar is trying to expose. That was done. That was again in Sanskrit. Then for the Gita Bhashyam of Ramanujacharya, Swami Desikan wrote an elaborate commentary. He called it Tatparya Chandrika. So he named it Tatparya Chandrikai. Basically, Tatparya means inner meanings of what Bhagavad Ramanuja is trying to say about Gita. So on that he wrote Chandrikai, which Chandrikai is a common understanding is something like a moon which cools us down. So the more you learn, you get cooled off with the right meanings and all that. So it does an elaborate commentary again in Sanskritam. Then he decided, okay, everything is in Sanskritam. I will do something in Tamil for people who don't know Sanskrit. So we will come to that part. So he wrote Geetartha Sangraham in Tamil. So that part is separate. Now about Swami Desikan. Swami Desikan is an Acharya. As we speak, we will celebrate his 756th year in Puratasi this year. So he is an Acharya par excellence who has done so much works in Sanskritam, in Tamil, and in the language called Prakrit, which is basically a colloquial Sanskritam in those days where house people or women particularly used to speak a particular slang. He has even written in that language. He has written prose, he has written poetry, he has written drama, he has done a lot of works. Swami Desikan's works and offering is immeasurable in terms of various works and the basic things that he did. Most of us recite, particularly our children going for exams and all that, Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalas Padigakridam Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Haigriva Vasnaya. There is a Haigriva Stotram, Adharam Sarva Vidyanam. For all knowledge, I pray to Haigriva. This verse is part of Haigriva Stotram written by Swami Desikan. Everybody knows this. The other one which is popular, everybody recites, probably without knowing it, is Swami Desikan's work is whenever you go to Chakratalwar Sudarshana's sanctum in any temple, you say Jai Jai Sri Sudarshana, Jai Jai Sri Sudarshana. So that is also written by Swami Desikan. Like this, he has given many works in Sanskrit, many works in Tamil. He has in fact given a condensed version of Divya Prabandham, which has got 4,000 hymns in Tamil in Prabandha Saram, as we call it Geetartha Sangraham. He has also done Prabandha Saram. So now, specific to Geetartha Sangraham, we are here to discuss and enjoy about it. So in Geetartha Sangraham, what Swami Desikan has done is given 21 pasarams in Tamil. The first pasaram is an introduction to Bhagavad Gita in full. Then from second pasaram, he has started with a summary of each chapter. So there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So starting from 2 to 19, each of those 4 lines are a summary of each of the chapters in Bhagavad Gita. That is how it's done, and that covers 19. 20 and 21 are basically what pasaram number 20 is what are the benefits of reciting this. Last pasaram 21 is his worship or reverence to Alavandar and Purvacharyas who has done elaborate work on Gita. So that is how it's constructed. So it is important to appreciate Swami Desikan before we step into Geetartha Sangraham. More importantly, it is important to appreciate Bhagavad Gita itself and then Swami Desikan and do. So Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters, I said. It's grouped into 6, 6 and 6. The first 6 chapters talks about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. The second 6 chapters talks about Bhakti Yoga. The last 6 chapters talks about all these 3 in terms of implementation, in terms of benefits in practicing this. So what is Karma Yoga? The word karma is intertwined. The normal usage of karma is whatever actions we do, the result of it will attach to us. So if you do a good deed, punya karma will come. If you do a bad deed, papa karma, sin will come. So that is what we use karma as a theory. But here karma yoga means actions. All our actions is called karma. Daily going to temple, helping poor people, feeding a needy person. All this is karma. We are expected to do without expecting anything in return. That's the underlying fact. So a karma yogi, a yogi who is performing his karma yoga, should do everything thinking of God. Doing this, he's given me this opportunity, I keep doing good things. It's not because I want fame, I want somebody to clap, I want 100 likes in Facebook. I don't do all that. I do it only for pleasing Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That is karma yoga. Jnana yoga is learning the scriptures from elders, from knowledgeable people and all that. Increasing the knowledge about Bhagavan Sri Krishna again. And that is what is called Jnana yoga. Then Bhakti Yoga is the devotion to Sri Krishna. That is what we are talking about, Bhakti Yoga. It is quite natural to all of us saying, I don't need to do Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. I know 2 slokas, I can go fold my hands and keep reciting. Bhaktis will come. That is not what Krishna wants us to do. Because one, it is not practical, it is not complete, and it is not sustainable. Unless I do something, for example, let's take, we are all in a corporate world. I can't become the CEO on day one. I have to grow. That means I have to deliver something in a particular role, learn, prove that I am better than others, move to the next level, then become CEO. Just because I am somebody's son who's owning the company, I may become CEO, but I may not deliver, because that is directly going to Bhakti Yoga. I need to do Karma Yoga. I need to do things as much I have to do. My daily morning, there are some rituals practiced in Sanatana Dharma, right? You wake up, you do that Rangoli or Kolam in front of your house, you light up lamps, you definitely shower every morning, then pray, then you start, then Ekadasi, you fast, then you give alms to people, everything you do, all this has to be done on a continuous basis. This is what is Karma Yoga. Without doing this, I will only do prayer, I will not do Karma Yoga, it doesn't work. And then comes Jnana Yoga. I have to learn. 1, I learn by doing. 2, I learn by seeking knowledge with elders, with books and scriptures and everything. So I have to constantly do this on a continuous basis. That is what Bhagavan Sri Krishna establishes very strongly in the first 6 chapters. Repeatedly he says that. And underlying fact is, do all these things without expecting results. That is the most important thing. You do not look at the results, you only focus on effort. In current day parlance, or if I go tell my boss that I'll do my good efforts, don't expect any results, he's not going to accept. But what Krishna says is, keep doing, focused on your efforts, results will automatically come. But if I'm focused on results, I may miss out doing good things, or I may become so self-centered, but if you don't get the results, my eyes are blinded, I do anything to get the results. Then it becomes a problem. Then let's apply the organizational context here. I only want to achieve the results. Then I leave away all the rules and regulations. I don't follow the law. I don't follow whatever practices within the organization. I get the result. Nobody's going to applaud me. So because why? I'm only focused on getting the results. So that robs a lot of things, a lot of good things. So Krishna already says, just focus on your work. What you're supposed to do your duty. Do your duty with full focus, without expecting the result, with full devotion and submission to me. He says, I'll take care of it. If you are able to practice, this is what he establishes in first 6 chapters. Do your duty, keep learning what you're supposed to learn without expecting results. So that is what in the first 6 chapters he says. Then the Bhakti Yoga. What is Bhakti? How do you perform Bhakti, and why you have to perform Bhakti to me is what Krishna says. So in 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna establishes why he is supreme, what all he can do, everything he shows. So in the 11th chapter, he gives you the Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna. That means where he shows everything to Arjuna and says, this is why I am. And Arjuna is so frightened, he says, come back to me normally. So he comes there. So in 7 to 12, this is what Krishna says, Bhakti, Bhakti, Bhakti. Give your devotion to me. Stay focused on work and acquire knowledge, first 6. Second 6, all that knowledge, devotion to me. Give the Bhakti to me. Then he says what you can do, what you have to do, what you can't do, what is Asuri Bhakti, what is Daily Bhakti, all that he explains in 13 to 18. And 18th chapter, we all know, it talks about surrender. So this is how Bhagavad Gita is constructed and structured. So this Karma Yoga, this Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, we need to keep practicing. And this is just one tip of the iceberg of what is Bhagavad Gita offering us. There's so much to do. So to get the taste of this, or to go deep into this, we rely on Acharya's explanation, which is always, but that is still Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is for us to read ourselves. So how do we get to read this? For which we need to learn Sanskritam. Keep learning and learning. That's one definite way, because you are learning the Moolam directly. The other way is, Swami Desikan gives that, what do you call, the advantage of tingling your taste buds using the Geetartha Sangraham, and says, I am going to give you this, entice you with this, learn this, understand this, go to the mullah. So that is how he is trying to entice us into the whole thing. So the book I have given, I have explained you, if you can. So I have given an introduction to Bhagavad Gita in the first chapter. I made it both in English and Tamil, so whoever is comfortable in what you can use. So he goes ahead and explains all these things very clearly and try to summarize as simple as possible. And if you go to page number 7, I have explained about Swami Sri Vedanta Desika. Who is he and how great is he a person and all that. So he has given Stotra Gantams. Stotrams are basically the slokams with particular pattern for worship. Then he has given Kavyas, which is basically epics, if you have to use a simpler term. He has given drama, Nataka Grantams. Then he has given the intense meanings of Vedanta, the essence of Vedas. And he has given commentaries, which is Vyakhyana Grantams. So that is how it is done. Then it's given, of course, 3 more. Anushtana Grantams, what you and I can practice on a daily basis. Then is given Rahasya Grantams, things which only a learned Acharya can impart. He is given as Grantams. Then he is given, of course, in Tamil, a lot of Prabandhams. He is not just given in Sanskritam, he has also done a lot of work on Tamil. In fact, some of his Tamil works are just mind-blowing. When you just recite it, you will melt. That's how it is actually. So he's used all this to deliver. That is Swami Desikan. So why we are talking about Swami Desikan? It's because of Geetartha Sangraham that we are going to discuss, of his work in Tamil. The purpose of choosing this Geetartha Sangraham in Tamil is, first is, I was surprised personally that it is not very popular even in Tamil knowing people that Swami Desikan has given something in Sanskrit. And a lot of my friends casually mentioned, oh, Gita I can read in Tamil. I didn't know. I thought I was always have to read in Sanskrit. I never went near it. So that was an eye-opener for me when we casually discussed this. Then me and my wife, we decided that we'll start doing this small knowledge sharing sessions so that we talk about Geetartha Sangraham. So those who can read and learn Tamil, it's very easy for them to recite it and then get the ruchi of it, go and learn from Pandits more in detail about it. There are some, I won't call it rules, but there are some practices to recite certain, all these Tamil Prabandhams. So normally there is something called Taniyan which starts. Taniyan is basically a respectful verse written by an Acharya after the Acharya who's written this. So Vedanta Desika has written Geetartha Sangraha. His Sishya or somebody would have written a 4-liner or a 2-liner sometimes in respect of this Acharya. That is called Taniyan. It will be standing out from the work of the Acharya, that is called Taniyan. And written not by the Acharya but somebody else. So you recite the Taniyan and then go to the sloka. That is how it is done. And there are certain slokas will be marked with a star on the left. I don't think that is, it is there. It has got some image, not a star. A 2-star thing you will find in page 17, the 3rd line on the left. So those are recited twice. So that is the rule that we follow, or a practice that has been in place. So, so we will start with the recitation if all of you are comfortable. Is that fine? Everybody? So whoever is familiar with Tamil can keep the Tamil page which is in 25. Whoever is in English can keep 17. So the first one is, first 4 lines is basically the Taniyan for any Swami Desikan sloka. It is not specific to Geetartha Sangraha. Anytime you want to recite any Tamil Prabandham of Swami Desikan, you recite these first 4 lines. So can I start? So what I will do is, I will recite and stop, then you recite, then I recite and stop, you recite. So that's how we can do. Sirondru Tupul Tiruvengadamudayan Parondra Sunna Pazhamozhiyul Orondru Thane Amayado Tharaniyil Vaalvarkku Vaanera Pomalavum Vaalvu. So what it means is, Tupul is the place where Swami was born or incarnated. So Tiruvengadamudi, his original name was Venkatanathan. He was then named as Vedanta Desikan. So he was supposed to be the incarnation of the divine bell of Tirupati Venkadachalamudi. That is why it's called Venkadanathan. The bell of Venkada, that's why he's named like that. Venkadanathan is the incarnation of divine bell of Tirupati Balaji. So he was born in a place called Thupul. So what it says, what this 4 lines means is, whoever recites even one line or one verse of this Sirar Thupul Thiruvenkadamudiyan can be blessed with divine life eternally in an afterlife. Vanera Pomalavum Valvu. After your life, you will be given the eternal life of the Vaikuntha. That's what this means in 4 lines. I made it very simple. The next 4 lines, or next 6 lines, 1 and 2, are Taniyans for Geetartha Sangraham. You will not recite this for other slokas of Swami Desikan. For other slokas, default you will recite Sirundu Thupu, but these 2 you will recite only when you are reciting Geetartha Sangraham. These 2 are also Taniyan. So I will, same way, I will start, you will then continue. Kattapurul Viritha Kasiniyil Nan Marayil Ittapurul Iyambum Inpurulai Sittar Tolum Vedanta Desigane Mevuvar Tangal Tiruppadam Puyam Adiyen Patra. What this means is, the Acharya has come after Swami Desikan has written this. He says, Kattapurul Viritha. Very difficult things are happening around this Kasiniyal, this world. The universe is giving a lot of meanings for many things, including the Vedas, which may be right, which may be wrong, which may be very complex. So, Kattapurul Viritha Kasiniyal Nanmarai. Nanmarai is 4 Vedas. The 4 Vedas are given different meanings. Some right, some are totally aghast in this Kasini, in this world. In that situation, Ittapurul Iyambum, the right words, meanings are given by in Veda, Sittar Tolum. Everybody is worshipping who? Vedanta Desikane. Whoever worships that Vedanta Desikan, Tangal Tiruppadambuyam Adiyen Patru. So this Swami says, whoever worships Swami Desika, I am saluting their feet. That is what this person is saying. Why I am doing this? Because Vedanta Desika has given me easy meanings to understand the 4 Vedas. That is why he is worshipping these people. So, this Swami has written these 4 lines to worship the disciples or devotees of Swami Desika, not even on Swami Desika. Then the next 2 lines, Geedai Murindarulum Vedanta Desikanar Padaravinda Malar Bhaktiyudan Patru. The Vedanta Desika, one who is giving this explanation for Gita, please hold on to his divine feet, is what these 2 lines mean. Okay? So these 2 are called Taniyan. The normal practice is you recite the Taniyan once. Okay? We will now go to the first Pasuram. These lines are, the collection of those 8 lines are called Pasurams. Okay? In Tamil, we can call in simple English or poems like that. Okay? Karumamum Jnanamum Kondezhum Kadalukor Ilakkendru Arumarai Uchiyul Adarithodum Arumbiramam Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal Endrudan Uraithan Dharmam Uganda Dhananjayanukku Avansaratiye. You have to recite this twice, so I am going again second. Karumamum Jnanamum Kondezhum Kadalukor Ilakkendru Arumarai Uchiyul Adarithodum Arumbiramam Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal Endrudan Uraithan Dharmam Uganda Dhananjayanukku Avansaratiye. So we spoke about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, which is what is established in Bhagavad Gita. Swami Desikan beautifully brings all this in just first 2 lines. Karmamum Jnanamum Kondezhum Kadalukku. Here he uses the word Kadal. For common understanding, Kadal is a term you use for love. So he doesn't use Bhakti. So the bhakti should be out of love. So Swami Bhagavad Ramanuja used to say, your bhakti should be because of preeti and not bidi. Okay, so bidi means fear, preeti means love or affection. So Bhagavad Ramanuja says your love for God should be out of affection, not because of fear he is going to punish you. So that means you understand the God, you be doing your righteous things, always love will come. So that's why he uses the word kadal, not using the word bhakti. So karmamum jnanamum kondalum kadalukku. So what is the purpose of karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga? Or ilakkendru. The focus for it is Arumarai Uchiyul. Arumarai. Marai means Vedam. It's another word for Vedas. Why it is called Marai? Because a lot of meanings, underlying meanings, deeper meanings are hidden in the Vedas. You can't understand by one reading or one listening. And it is always told in a particular format to a particular set of people in a particular time. It has got a lot of rules for learning, for reciting, of course for going deeper into it. That's why, because it's a lot of things hidden, intertwined, it's called Marai. And you can't, it can't be thrown open to everybody and given like peanuts, right? So you have to respect it. Also you have to be carefully, that's why it's also called Marai. Protect it and give it. So it's always the term used Marai for Vedas. Arumarai, very divine. That's why it's not just Marai, it's Arumarai. So Adarithodum Arumarai Uchiyul. What is the epitome of Vedas? Vedanta. Vedanta gives the essence of all the four Vedas. So Arumarai Uchi is Vedanta. So Swami says, Karmamum Jnanamum Kondelum Kadalukku Or Ilakkendru Arumarai Uchiyul Adarithodum Arum Piramam. Again use Arum. So the Vedanta eulogizes, celebrates, worships who? Adarithodum Arum Piramam. So it says Adarithu Odum Arum Piramam. That's what he says. Who is that? Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal. Lakshmi Mahavishnu. It's very establishing it very clearly. It's not Mahavishnu alone. That is the core essence of Visishtadvaita Tattva, that Lakshmi and Vishnu are inseparable. They are always together. Sriman Narayana. Mahavishnu, Mahalakshmi. Lakshmi Narsimha, Lakshmi Narayana, Lakshmi Agra. It's always together. So Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal. I'll take a small deviation to Ramayana here, where this is again established in Ramayana that you can never separate them. What did Surpanaga try to do? Separate Rama from Sita. She perished. What did Ravana do? He separated Sita from Rama. He perished. What did Anjaneya do? He brought them together. He worked to bring them together. We are worshipping him. So you always look at them together. You never ever separate them. So that's why he also mentioning that Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal. So he establishes that four Vedas are there. The essence of Vedas is Vedanta. What is told in Vedanta is Vedanta celebrates the ultimate. Who is the ultimate? Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal. So he establishes saying in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says in Endru Tan Uraitan. That is where the underlying factor is the key word is Tan Uraitan. But Krishna says, right? So Tirumagalodu Tirumal, yaar solra? Tirumal is solra. So Krishna only is saying Dharma Muganda. So the one who is asking, who is seeking dharmic knowledge, who is seeking Dhananjaya. Arjuna has got many names. Partha is one name. Dhananjayan is one name. There are many names are there. So Dharma Muganda Dhananjayanaka, who said this? Avan Sarathiye, the charioteer. Sarathi means charioteer. So the one who is driving his chariot, who is Krishna himself, who says Karamamum Jnanamum Kondalum Kadalukku Adarithodum Arumbiramum Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal Endru Tan Uraitan Dharma Muganda Dhananjayanaka Avan Sarathiye. So he establishes the entire Bhagavad Gita in just one sloka. That's the first sloka itself. So as such, this is 21 pasrams, out of which 18 chapters is made in 18. On top of it, the first itself, he explains the whole Bhagavad Gita in simple Tamil. So this is how he creates or tingles our taste buds to learn the Bhagavad Gita, saying what is up. So then our automatic question will be, what is karma, what is jnana, what is kadal, why it is using kadal, why not bhakti. So as he asks these questions, obviously we'll learn more and more and go. Any questions so far? So the next one is Ugavai Adainda Ura Udayar Poralutra Annal Tagavudan Anbu Karepurala Tharumathalavil Miga Ulam Anji Viழுந்து அடி சேர்ந்த விசயனுக்கோர் நகையுடன் உண்மை உரைக்க அமைந்தனன் நாரணனே. So this is the actual essence of first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So first chapter, as I started saying, it is Arjuna who is now worried that he's going to end up killing a lot of people just for the sake of few pieces of land. So he's not very happy. His whole first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is lament of Arjuna. Krishna doesn't start speaking in whole of first chapter. He is only happily listening. So that is what is happening, and that is what Swami is establishing here. Ugavai Adainda Uravadayar. Uravadayar is all his relatives are there. His cousins are there, his uncles are there, grandfather is there, great grandfathers are there. They're all right in front of him as enemies, not as friends. And he sees a lot of soldiers there. There is, of course, this set of soldiers mounted on elephants. That means they will also be killed in the process. So he's really worried about the whole thing. Destruction. War is all about destruction. Nobody wants a war, and Arjuna doesn't want a war too. So he says, Tagavudan Anbu Karepurala. Suddenly he's overwhelmed with love for all this kith and kin, and he says, I don't want. Miga Ula Manji. A man whose epitome of valor is no fearful. Miga Ula Manji. He's not physically fearful. His heart melts out of fear. Fear for what? Fear of destruction. Not fear of war, not fear of pain. Fear of destruction. Then he falls at Krishna's feet. Vilundu adi சேர்ந்த. So the moment he falls at Krishna's feet, and as Arjuna has called different names, and Krishna has got different names, Arjuna has also got different names. So in first Pasaram he uses Dhananjayan, in this he uses Vijayan. So Vijayanukkur, that's where he says Krishna starts giving the truth. Unmai Uraikka Amindanan Nagayudan. He starts doing with a smirk or a smile. Now that you lamented, I will start telling you the truth. I'll teach you the truth, is what he says. Who is doing that? Naranane. So here he is using the word of ultimate Narayanan here, who is going to give the entire Gita for him. So that is what is being discussed in second chapter. And in second Pasaram, first chapter. Again, essentially it's the first chapter. Can we move on? Udalam Marindidum Ulbuir Ondrozhiyatheனைப் போல் விடுமது பற்று விடாது தடைத்த கிரிசைகளே கடுக உனக்குயிர் காட்டும் நினைவு அதனால் உளதாம் விடுமயல் என்று விசயனைத் தேற்றினன் வித்தகனே. Here there is a basic tenets of the Sri Vaishnava philosophy is told by Krishna himself. Body is different from Atma. Udalam Azhindidum Ul Uyir Ondru Ozhiyada Eneip Pol. As Paramatma, he has no death or anything. Jivatma also does not have any death. That's what he says. Ondru Ozhiyada Eneip Pol. He is saying himself, we are equivalent to him in that aspect. So that means Udalam Azhindidum, your body will perish, don't worry. Your Atma will not perish. So that's what Krishna is establishing in second chapter. So what you have to do is Vidumadu Patra, just drop all this attachment. Then he says Vidadu Adaitha Kirisaigal. What Kirisaigal here is all your Karma Yoga. So the word here refers all your Karma Yoga. So Vidadu Adaitha Kirisaigal, whatever you are supposed to do, please do. That's what Krishna is saying. You are a king, you have to fight a war, you better do it. That's what Krishna is saying. Your job is to fight a war, protect your kingdom, protect your people, do it now. That's what he's saying. So that is what he says. Kadiga Ulakuyir Katum Nenevadanal Ulada Vidumayil Endre Visayanai Tetran. Here he says Vijayan. When he addresses Swami Desikan here says Vijayan again, because in the earlier one also he says Vijayan, in the second one also Vijayan, because he is victorious, he is valorous. But here is totally the opposite, he doesn't want to fight. So Swami is also taking the role of Krishna here to remind him, Arjuna, that you are a victorious, valorous person. Why do you even pretend like this, that you are afraid of fighting a war and all that? So Vittagane. Here, earlier Pasaram, Swami uses Narayanane. Here he uses Vittagan. Vittagan is called, loosely we can say, a magician or a skillful playmaster or something. So why is using the term? He is the Sharveshwara Krishna. He is protecting everybody. He is only advising him, but advising him was at his charioteer, doing the service. Here, let me take a time off to say what is there so great about being charioteer. Like we all have drivers today, we are very used to it. What they do? They open the doors for us, they keep the car clean and all that. Very simple things they do. A charioteer in those days, the job of a charioteer is very, very huge. One, they have to maintain the chariot in good condition and roll it out in the war field wherever they are supposed to go efficiently. They have to maintain the horses. They have to feed the horses. They have to clean the refuse of the horses. Krishna did all these things. Just because Draupadi said the other day, save me. So for all this, he is doing all this. Verse is the best. The chariot will be so tall, not like what we see in movies. Those days, people used to be very tall and the chariot used to be taller. The steps will be so much. The charioteer's job is to go and sit in front of the charioteer. The first step Arjuna keeps is only on Krishna and then gets into the chariot. Bhagavan Sri Krishna bends himself where Arjuna can keep his leg on his shoulders, get into the chariot. Then as he rides the chariot, Arjuna is, as I said, the most skillful warrior you can ever think of established. And he has no time to tell Krishna to go right, left. So he uses his leg to tap Krishna on the left, then Krishna will go on the left. He taps him on the right, Krishna will go on the right. Bhagavan Sri Krishna all did this. That's why they said Vittagani. He is Sarveshwara, he controls the entire universe and he is succumbing himself to all these things just to prove a concept and say why yes. The management today talks about servant leadership. There cannot be a better example than Krishna to do a servant leadership. So if you go write an essay, we can take Krishna's exact work only during his Pandavaduta to being the charioteer for Arjuna during the 18 days of war. You can write enough books on servant leadership only with Sri Krishna as an example. So that's why they use, Swami is using the word Vittagan here. So we'll move on to the fourth. Sangam Tavirndu Sagam Sadir Petra Dhananjayane Pongum Gunangal Punarpanaithum Pugavittavattrul Nangan Uraitha Kirisayalam Yanavum Navindrar Yengum Arivargale Yendru Nadan Yembinane Sangam Tavirndu. Again is coming back to the same thing. Avoid unwanted things. Sagam Sadir Petra Dhananjaya, do the right things. Again he addresses him as Dhananjaya this time. Dhananjaya is one again to bring back his valor and his whole archery, his skills in archery. That's why he's called Dhananjayan. Pungum Gunangal. So all your right gunas, which is basically again coming back to doing the right karmas, attaining the right jnana. As I said, first 6 chapters will only be about karma yoga and jnana yoga. Doing your duty, learning the right things. Doing your duty, learning the right things. So you'll again keep re-establishing only this in the first 6 chapters. So Pungum Gunangal, he says, do all these things. Pugavit Avatrul, Nangan Uraitha Kirisayalam. So Kirisay again means Karma Yoga. As I mentioned, in fact many pasarams the word Kirisay will keep coming because the establishing of doing the righteous things or doing the role you're supposed to do is always established. If I am a sweeper, I need to sweep this place clean. That's it. I can't think, I may be a big guy yesterday or I'm born to a rich fellow because of whatever reasons I'm poor, I may be ending up as a sweeper, or I'm just sweeping as an hobby. It doesn't matter. You're sweeping, you sweep well. You're a king, you're fighting, you fight well. So it's always that Kirisai is about doing your duty with full focus and full attention. And do not deviate from the path of your duty. And again, underlying fact is, do not expect the results when you do your duty. You don't look at the fruits. That actually establishes in the 2nd chapter itself. In fact, if you want, whenever you look at time and it says 2:47, remember this. Karmanye Vadikara is 2nd chapter, 47th sloka. which says, do your duty, don't expect the results. Leave the results to me. That's what Krishna says. So, Nangan Nuritta Kirselam, Enamum Navindrar, Yengum Marivargale. Everybody will understand this as long as you do your duty. Endru Nathan Yembirane. Nathan is one who controls or one is the boss of everybody. Here again, Swami Desikan uses the word Nathan to refer Sri Krishna here. So that is what is established again in 3rd chapter. Here it is 4th sloka. As I said, the first chapter is introduction, 2nd chapter is first sloka. Like that that's how we are going. We'll now recite the 5th one. Piravamai Tandida Tane Pirakkum Perumaigalum Turava Kirisegal Tumadi Tannal Tulangugayum Irava Uyir Nannile Kandidum Ulagin Nilayum Maraivalu Mayavan Neyanukku Andru Arivittanane. Okay. The very important fact to understand the Visishtadvaita philosophy again is the overall Sanatana Dharma, the basic underlying is body is different from Atma. There are primarily 3 tattvas, tattva trayam. Ishvara, Chit, Achit tattvam. Ishvara is God, the Supreme. Here we talk about Krishna or Sriman Narayana. Chit is one that has knowledge. I have knowledge that my name is Anand. I'm here in Hindu Center. I'm talking to all of you. You know that your name. You're here in Hindu Center. You're here listening about Swami Desikan's work. So all of us have knowledge. Achit is one that does not have knowledge. This is a table. Is a knowledge we know. Table does not know. This is a table. It is an Achit. This microphone does not know. This is a mic. But you and I know this is a mic. So we are Chit. This is Achit. So the Chit and Achit are Jivatma. Then you have the Paramatma or the Ishvara Tattva. So the Chit and Achit is basically takes the body based on karma. It is got the Jivatma inside. So everything takes a cycle of body based on birth, death and rebirth. And the rebirth will happen based on the karma. So it's like us changing the shirts. Today I wear this shirt, tomorrow I wear another shirt. So next birth I will have a different body. So this cycle is endless. So how do you end it? There is Bhakti Yoga, there is Prapatti Yoga. That is what Visishtadvaita establishes, Ramanujacharya has established. What is Bhakti Yoga? Complete, total devotion to Sriman Narayana, to Krishna, Narasimha. And then at the end of the life, you may be granted what is called liberation or moksha. When the cycle is broken, you get moksha. So Bhakti Yoga. So the example given for Bhakti Yoga is, it has to be a Thaila Dara Bhakti. What is Thaila? Is oil. So you take a cup of oil, raise it like this, pour it. It will come stream like this without splitting here and there. But what Bhakti you and I will have is Nirdhara Bhakti. I take a glass of water, do the same thing, it will spill all over the place. So our Bhakti is all spread all over, it's not focused Bhakti. The example of focused Bhakti is only one and only is Prahlada. One has to be, you push him in fire, push him around snakes, throw him in front of trampling elephants. He's just unperturbed. He's just saying Narayana, Narayana. That talent of Bhakti is Thaila Dara Bhakti, which is not possible for many of us, almost all of us. That is why Prapatti Marga is suggested, which is surrender. The surrender is what Krishna will talk about in 18th chapter, 66th sloka. That is where all of us know that sloka. Sarva dharman parityacha mamekam sharanam vraja ahamta sarvabhabhepyo mokshishyami masuchaha. Masuchaha, he says, don't worry. I will give you mokshishyami. I will give you moksha masuchaha. When you surrender, mamekam sharanam vraja. He is very, very clear. Mamekam. That is his word. Keyword is ekam. Surrender unto me, only me. I will take care of you. So that he tells in the end. So we are talking of this Piravamai. That is why the first word Piravamai is given. So you don't want to be born again. How do you want to be born? Not born again is only by surrender. Bhakti Yoga, Prapatti Yoga. So you do Prapatti Yoga. So he is here to give you that liberation. That's why Piravamai Tandida. To give you that blessing of breaking the cycle of birth, death and rebirth by surrender. He is Tane Pirakkum. So he takes a lot of piravis. That's the best part. Okay, we are in 4th chapter, right? So what is his birth? he's taken avatars, Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, he takes Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Varaha avatar. Those are Dasavatar we know, he takes innumerous other avatars also. There are many avatars he takes. So like this, he is born here. Piravami Tandida, Tane Pirakkum. At every stage he is born. But only difference in this case, Arjuna also asks in 4th chapter, you are also born, I am also born. So what big difference between you and I is what he is asking. He says, boss, you're missing the point. Only thing is, first thing is, you are born because of karma. Your karma in earlier birth, you are born here. I take birth on my sankalpa. I decide to be born as Krishna, I come. I decide to be born as Rama, I come. And I can tell you all my previous incarnations. You can't even tell your previous birth because you have no knowledge of it. Only I have control because I do on my icha, my sankalpa. You are born on karma. So, Piravame Tandida, Tane Pirakkum Perumegalum. That's why it says, he uses the word Perumegalum. You have so much glory by taking each incarnation that you are here to grant us no more birth in this world. That's why he uses the word Piravame Tandida, Tane Pirakkum Perumegalum. Turava Kirisegal. Again, the word Kirisegal will come, Karma Yoga. Turava, what you are not supposed to do, what you are supposed to do, don't drop it. Turava Kirisegal, please don't drop all the things, drop all the unwanted things. What you are supposed to do, keep doing it. How will you know that? Tu Madi. Madi means your intellect, your knowledge. Tu Madi is Tuya, pious or pure Madi. Tannal Tulangagayam. That's where Jnana Yoga comes in. How does Tu Madi comes? Karma Yoga makes you do things. That will get you knowledge. That will build your interest and the eligibility to acquire knowledge. So the Tu Madi, the good knowledge will come to you automatically. Tannal Tulangayam. Automatically it will come and explain to you all the good things. Irava where. Then you will know that your body is different from your Atma and your Atma is eternal, body will perish. All that you will know. Nannilai. Moment you realize this, you will find, because I am also Jivatma, you are also Jivatma, everybody is Jivatma. I will not stand finding difference with people at all after that. That is the Nannilai. I will treat everybody, because all of us belong to Krishna. And so we will all treat each other as the same. There is no differences. So that Nannilai will come. Maraivalu Mayavan. Again, Marai has come. What is Marai? We discussed in the first one, Vedas. Who is residing inside the Vedas? Krishna. And why is he called Mayavan now? Because he is there omnipresent. He can be front as Sarathi as Krishna. He is also residing in the Marai. He can be here, he can be there. He is omnipresent, omnipotent. And Maraivalu Mayavan. Nayan Karvetane. Here Nayan is the word is used. Here Krishna treats him as his friend. Nayan is a term used for friend. By relationship, Krishna and Arjuna are cousins. And here he is his teacher. As such, in reality, is Paramatma, is Jivatma. There is no questions about all this. But here Paramatma treats Jivatma as a friend. So that is what he says in this pasara, which is 4th chapter. Piravame Tandida, Tane Pirakkum Piramigalum, Turava Krisegal, Tumidi Tannal Tulangayam, Yerava Vir, Nannilai, Kandidum, Ulagin Nilayam, Maraival Mayavan, Nenik Karvittanane. So this is the 4th chapter in this 5th pasara. That's how we are looking. I'll move to the next one. Kandelidam Karmam, Uirgatta Kadugadalum, Mandiyadan Padiyil, Manam Kollum Varisegalum, Kandariya Uirai, Kanalutra Ninevagalum, Vantuvaresan, Yembinan, Vasavan Maindanike. Vasavan Maindan is again another term. There are a lot of names that he is giving to Arjuna, right? So here it's saying Vasavan. I don't know the exact relation to it. We know he's a Pandu king's son. So that's how we are talking. So probably some name refers to Pandu king about Arjuna that he's saying Vasavan Maindan. Kand Elidam Karamam. First line he says again Karamam. The first 6 chapters you will, to the extent of being what kind of thing he is talking about only Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga constantly, but that is the purpose of first 6 chapters. So obviously Swami Desikan's interpretation will also be the same as what Bhagavan Krishna wants us to learn. So Kandelidam Karamam, it's very very simple. You can see and do things what you are supposed to do. Karamam, that's what he says. Uirkatta Kadagadalum. Okay. So specifically I may need some more reading on this. I'll probably next week I'll address this more. Manam Koldum Varsegalum, Kandaira Uirai. So the Kandaria Uirai is basically again talks about our Jivatma. We can't see our soul or what you call as Uir or our life, which is nothing but our Atma, which is sitting inside. The moment the Atma goes out, this body becomes dead, but there is nothing. So I can't see my Atma. So the whole idea he says is, keep working on your Karma Yoga that you realize your Atma yourself, because that's called the Atma Sakshatkaram in Sanskrit, that you can realize your own Atma personally. How do you do that? By doing your duty, by learning the right things. Again, establishing doing your duty. There's no way that you can skip your duty and do it. So by doing your duty and by learning the right things, you keep doing this, you will be able to realize yourself. Here, understanding the self is about knowing that our Atma is inside us and Paramatma is also residing in us, and then body is different from Atma. That's what is again establishing here. To take a step away from this here, when we talk about Atma, all of us, our body has got our Jivatma. It's a no-brainer. But it's also important to note that we also have Paramatma residing inside us. The term Namaste came, how did it come? I worship the divinity in you and you worship the divinity in me. I'm not worshiping you as a person alone. When I say Namaste, here is my Paramatma is also sitting here. Similarly, another person also, Paramatma is sitting the same way, so I do Namaste. That's how the practice of Namaste came in. I folded hands that we do. So Paramatma takes 5 stages in which we say me. So Paramatma, as Sriman Narayana, is in his eternal abode called Vaikunta. That is called the Para form. That's why it's called Paramatma. Then what science calls as Milky Ocean, or what we, our Itihasa Purana calls as Shirabdi or Parkadal, Tirupparkadal, is there as Vyuha Vasudeva. He is there as Vyuha, who is controlling or who is looking at all these things, who is accessible to all these Indras, Devas and everybody. They can't go to Vaikunta, they will be accessible somewhere. Then he takes a lot of incarnations. So that is called the Vibhava form, short term. As Rama will be for a few 100 years, as Krishna will be for a few 100 years, Narasimha for 1.5 hours. He will be like this. That's called the Vibhava form. Then he will be in the Archa form. You go to Srinivasa Perumal temple here, he is there standing as an idol. That's called Archa form. That's why we call it Archanai when we do the Archanai. Term came from because you are doing it for the Archa Rupam. In English we call it idol, but otherwise you call Murti or Archa Rupam. That's the 4th form. The 5th form is most important, is Antaryami. He is inside everybody as Antaryami. So that is why the Namaste came in. So he is residing in all of us as Antaryami. So that is what he is saying. As you do your duty, as you learn the right things, you will be able to realize your Atma, and you also know that Paramatma is residing in you. So the Atma Sakshatkaram will come. That will make us a better person as we go along. So that is what he is establishing in chapter 5 in the whole thing. So can we recite from 1 to 5 again? 1 to 6, right? Yeah, 1 to 6. So that we get a hang of how to recite this. Karamamum Jnanamum Kondezhum Kadalukor Ilakkendru Arumare Uchiyul Aadarithodum Arumbiramam Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal Endrudan Uraithan Dharmam Muganda Dhananjayanakku Avansaradiye. We recite this again because this is always twice. Karamamum Jnanamum Kondezhum Kadalukor Ilakkendru Arumare Uchiyul Aadarithodu Arumbiramam Tirumagalodu Varum Tirumal Endrudan Uraithan Dharmam Muganda Dhananjayanakku Avansaradiye. Ugavai Adainda Uravudayar Poralutra Annal Tagavudan Anbu Kareburala Tarumathalavil Migavulam Anji Viழுந்து அடிசேர்ந்த விசயனுக்கோர் நகைவுடன் உண்மை உரைக்க அமைந்தனன் நாரணனே உடலம் அழிந்திடும் உள் உயிர் ஒன்றொழியாதனைப் போல் விடுமது பற்று விடாது அடைத்த கிரிசைகளே கடுக உனக்குயிர் காட்டும் நினைவு அதனால் உளதாம் விடுமயல் என்று விசையினைத் தேற்றினன் வித்தகனே சங்கம் தவிர்ந்து சகம் சதிர் பெற்ற தனஞ்சயனே பொங்கும் குணங்கள் புணர்ப்பனைத்தும் புகவிட்டவற்றுள் நங்கண் உரைத்த கிரிசையலாம் எனவும் நவின்றார் எங்கும் அறிவர்களே என்று நாதன் இயம்பினனே பிறவாமை தந்திட தானே பிறக்கும் பெருமைகளும் துறவா கிரிசைகள் தூமதி தன்னால் துலங்குகையும் இரவா உயிர் நன்னிலை கண்டிடும் உலகின் நிலையும் மறைவாழுமாயவன் நேயனுக்கு அன்று அறிவித்தனனே கண்டெளிதாம் கருமம் உயிர்காட்டக் கடுகுதலும் மண்டியதன் படியில் மனம் கொள்ளும் வரிசைகளும் கண்டறியா உயிரை காணலுற்ற நினைவுகளும் வன்துவரேசன் இயம்பினன் வாசவன் மைந்தனுக்கே. Okay, we'll go to the 6th chapter, which is the 7th sloka. யோக முயற்சியும் யோகில் சமநிலை நால்வகையும் யோகின் உபாயமும் யோகுதன்னால் வரும் பேறுகளும் யோகுதனில் தந்திரமுடை யோகுதன் முக்கியமும் நாகண யோகி நவின்றனன் நன்முடி வீரனுக்கே. This 6th chapter talks fully about yoga, completely about yoga. Yoga is all about here acquiring knowledge and getting the right knowledge and going towards the Atma Sakshatkaram or understanding the self, knowing that body and Atma is different. A lot of people, even current day, we learn things but we may forget it after some time. That is why Krishna establishes this fact, because moment we learn that body and Atma is different, our whole behavior will change, overall things. We will not get perturbed with lot smaller things. We will not get very worked up with somebody is irritating, within quotes irritating us and all that. Because everything will come very, very differently, because that learning is important for Arjuna, because he is a king. I do something, probably maximum my wife, my family may look at me, and if they follow me and I'm going the wrong way, I can still correct it. But if a king goes wrong, then the whole nation goes wrong. So that is why Krishna is spending a lot of time with Arjuna to establish this fact, because he has to be an example, an epitome of righteous behavior, so that everybody who follows him and his subjects will also be following the righteous things. That's why he establishes this again and again, and he again keeps reminding him that he is king. That's why in this end, he says, Nan Mudi Veeranukke. Mudi is about king, and he is a valorable person, is a valorous person, and is a king. So he establishes, Swami Desikan also establishes here in the 6th chapter, Krishna keeps reminding Arjuna that, boss, you are a king, you better behave properly. Because people are going to follow. If you fail to fight today, then the warrior soldier in your camp in the next war will say, oh boss, king itself didn't fight, why should I fight? He'll stop. So you are setting up a bad example. So you can't be a bad example, you have to do your duty, only then you can demand duty from your people. So that is what he's keeping, establishing again and again. So yoga muyarchiyum, yogil samanilayam. So always keep looking for performing the yoga. Here yoga is understanding the self, learning the good things. So yoga muyarchiyum, yogil samanilayam. Always keep a balanced approach in learning things. Nalvagayam, this is very important. There are 4 kinds of people who go to Krishna. What they call as the Arti, Artharti, Jigyasa and Jnani. There are 4 different kind of people. Arti is one who always goes and seeks material wealth. I am a very poor guy. I go to temple and see Krishna, give me wealth. I have my wife to feed, I have my children to feed, educate and grow, etc. etc. I ask for wealth. Artharthi is one who was wealthy, who has lost it, and asks again to regain his wealth. So he is still material, he will be doing that. So these, and the Jignasa is one who wants to enjoy the Atma. He is not looking at material wealth. He wants to know the Atma, he wants to enjoy the Atma, so he goes to Krishna. These 3 set of people will be going to Krishna and worshipping and praying till they get what they want. After that, they may stop. Because you are attaching your worship towards a material expectation. The Jnani is one who worships Krishna for Krishna. There is nothing in return. I know he is Paramatma, I know he is Supreme, and I know I as Jivatma is a subject for him to Paramatma, I worship. That's all I do as Jnani. So the one Jnani, he says, Nalvagi Yogin Upayam. So he says, 4 people will come, they will pray. But the one who is Jnani, I am more dear to him. I like him more, he is dearest to me. That's what Krishna is establishing. And you have to attain that. When do you attain that? When you start doing things without attaching the results or fruit to your action. So do not expect everything. So I donate $10 today, I expect somebody to say thank you or somebody to post on Facebook with my photo. No, those things are not done. So you keep donating because you believe in that cause, you believe that it's your duty to help somebody, you do it. I want to help somebody on the street, I help somebody. I want to work for my family, you work for your family. You don't go demand saying, I worked all 25 years for the family, what do I get in return? You've dropped all your 25 years in that one statement, over. So you keep doing your duty, the result will automatically come as long as you do things righteously. That's why he keeps saying that. Yogatannal varum perigalum, that's what he says. So you'll get all the results. The one who is asking for material results, he'll get material results. One who wants to enjoy the Atma, he'll get. The Jnani is but dear to me. I will take care of everybody, but who is dear to me is one who is Jnani, who is not seeking anything in return. That's what Krishna is establishing in this 6th chapter again and again. That's why it's called the Yoga. The whole Adhyayam itself is called some Yoga Adhyayam. Every Adhyayam has got, every chapter has got a name. So it's called some Yoga. Yes, yeah. So Nagarinoki Navindranan Nanmudi Viraniki again is establishing was you are the king, you are a Nanmudi, you are the righteous king, and you are a valorous person. So you behave properly so that you set a right example for your people to follow. Only then you can demand righteous efforts from your people. So that's what he keeps establishing in all these things. So we have completed the first set of 6 chapters which talked about Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. We saw the introduction to Swami Desikan. We saw the introduction to Bhagavad Gita and how great acharyas like Swami Alavandar, Bhagavad Ramanuja have established with their works and commentaries based on Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita itself is so in-depth, so profound and so deep that it got a lot of meanings. As we said, the chapters are grouped. First 6 chapters will talk about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. 7 to 12 will talk about completely Bhakti Yoga. And 13 to 18 will talk about everything together and the implementation and the Phalan. Basically the Phalan that he's talking about is surrender. And the last sloka will, all of us when we recite Vishnu Sahasranama or listen to Vishnu Sahasranama, you will get the last sloka, we'll come to it in the next chapter, where it talks about what you will get in the overall Bhagavad Gita. So that Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Tatra Partho Dhanurdhara Tatra Sri Vijaya Bhumir Dhruva Nidir Madir Mamaha is what Sanjaya says. Krishna doesn't say, Arjuna doesn't say, it is a Sanjaya's statement which comes in the end. The very interesting aspect is Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Bhagavan Krishna and Arjuna. There's also a small parallel conversation that is happening between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. So it's 4 people talking. So you will get a lot of things. So when you say Sanjaya Uvacha, when you say Uvacha, Sanjaya is saying this. So that's how it comes. So Bhagavan Uvacha means Krishna is saying, Arjuna Uvacha means Arjuna is saying. So finally in the last sloka, 18th chapter, 73rd sloka, he says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, wherever Krishna is there, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Tatra Partho Dhanurdhara. In the first chapter, Dhanur means his bow, he's dropped his bow. So there Dhanurdhara, he is with his bow ready to perform his duty. Tatra Sir, wherever Krishna is there with Arjuna ready to do his duty, Tatra Sri, Sri is there. Wealth, Sri is Mahalakshmi. The entire wealth, Aishwarya is there. Vijayam is there. Victory is there. Yashas is there. All your fame, everything is there, is what Sanjaya says. So if you put it in simple English and all, wherever there is your righteous efforts are there, backed by Krishna's divine blessings, all the positives will be there. It's how Bhagavad Gita ends in 18th chapter, 73rd sloka. So all these things that we will learn this week and next week will all about doing our duty the right way with the bhakti of Krishna, so that we are all successful, our society and environment is successful. It's not about one person. Krishna did not advise one person, he advised all of us. So it is obviously for all of us. So that is where it is. And this beautiful nectar that is available, we are only tasting a tinge with Swami Desikan's Tamil verses. The actual Mula is 700 slokas, so obviously in-depth meanings are there in plenty. We come back to the first pasuram is given, Karmamum Jnanamum Kondayum Kadaluk. So the bhakti towards Krishna should be more of love and affection. As we said, Bhagavad Ramanuja said, Preeti should be there, Bidi should not be there. So we have more love and affection, not fear of God. So a lot of people normally say, I'm God fearing. Say, why do you have to fear God? Right? You have to be God loving. So that is what Bhagavad Ramanuja is saying. And what Swami Desikan is also saying is, Kadalukko Rilakendre, Arumara Yuchil, Adari Todum, Arumbirumam, Tirumagalodu Arum Tiruma, Lakshmi Narsimha, Krishna Rukmani, Sita Rama. That's how you right? So you go to Srinivasa Perumal temple, you have Mahalakshmi and Srinivasa together, always together. The simple things I will also add, if you watch a lot of people go to India and many temples, here also we have temple. There are places where the Mahalakshmi sanctum is separate, there are places where Mahalakshmi sanctum is inside. So you go to the next temple, Vadabhatri Kaliamman temple, there is a Rama sanctum, where Sita Ma is always with Rama. Here Mahalakshmi is separate, but inside also she is together. So in some temples you will find Mahalakshmi is fully in the chest of Perumal, right? So there are 3 stages Tayar Mahalakshmi blesses us. Standard examples Pandits have given this, why she is like this is, when we go directly to Perumal, he only sees all our bad deeds and sins, he is very angry with us. So to protect us from not going, we always go to our mother first. So typically our children we have, when something wrong in the class, I've got a B- or something like that, I don't want to go to my dad and tell first. I first go to my mother alone when she's alone. Then she says, I have a problem, you have to save me from that. Then the mother finds the right time to talk to the dad and says, our child, this time you please. And he says, okay, next time. You guess. Like this, so we go to the Lakshmi Ma when she's alone and says, I'm going there, please take care of me. So before we do a circle and go to the main sanctum, she would have communicated saying, our child is coming, take care. So that is why she does. So what she does is, alone she listens to our prayers. When she is with him, she talks about us and says, protect them. So there is some common parlance that people do. So that is how we enjoy Sriman Narayana. They are always together. You don't separate them ever. So with this, thanking you for your time. I'll complete today's session. I'm open for questions. And then we continue next week with the remaining chapters. Any questions? Also feedback, if you want me to go slow or you want me to go faster, anything is fine.